Okay, and we're away. So welcome to the last Tuesday Wellbeing Club, which is, as I was pointed out to me the other day, it's not last Tuesday, it's this Tuesday. But anyway, it got very confusing. It's the last Tuesday of the month, and it's a regular slot, and surprisingly on a Tuesday. This time we're talking about law of attraction and the law of vibration, mainly because I think it's something that has been wildly or misrepresented out there in the world of coaching, training, and personal development. So I'm going to give you my take on it, my experience, my understanding, and hopefully you can take some tips away and use and see how you get on. Now, I'm going to give you a classic example of the law of attraction and energy and vibration. It involves Aaron. He's wondering what's going to happen now. His little eyes have lit up, but it's in a very good way. So you're quite safe. You're okay, and it'll all make sense as we go along. It was a conversation I had last week, but it demonstrates perfectly, I think, all the things I'm going to talk about in a very realistic way that will show up in your business, your lives on an ongoing basis if you start to use some of the tools and techniques. So welcome to the call. We are recording now, so please only type in nice things. For those who are new to the conversation, there's a couple of new people on here, so welcome to the new people and new faces. This is where we are based. This is obviously Europe. There's Belgium, Luxembourg, tucked down the middle right. So we're based right there, just outside Schengen, a little village called Remechen, which is just around the corner from a fabulous vineyard. They make the best Cremant in Luxembourg, so hence Lynn chose the location there for the offices. And we live just a little bit further south. This is where we are here. This is the cottage. We're in a little tiny village called Remerin, which is in the middle of nowhere in France. Beautiful part of the world, and it's a renovation cottage. We've been doing the gardens and all the bits and pieces with it. So that's where we are, and we're working from home now as we're on lockdown, as everybody else is as well. We have clients now in about 35 countries all over the world. We are business coaches and trainers. We do business coaching, executive coaching, team training and events and things like this, and all from a little desk here all over the world. So we're very, very fortunate. Even Wales, we cover the globe. The clients we work with, variety of people, and one of the things I'm going to talk about later on in the conversation now is how to attract the right type of people for you, for your business, for your network. So all the people we work with, as you'll see, and on boats, yes, exactly. Thanks, Sam. As you'll see, when the people on this call, for example, there's going to be a similarity between all of you in terms of your outlook, your standards, values, your sense of humor, your knowledge base, because you've all been sort of attracted together to be on this call. So there's a lot of humor. I got a lot of stick earlier on, in a good way. It's a positive thing, so it's all okay. So these are some of the clients we work with, and for those of you who are not yet working with us, we've now finished the garden. I've got some time on my hands. I'm releasing 2 one-on-one coaching programs starting in May. I'm going to hold 2020 prices. So if you're not yet working with us on the one-to-one programs, but you'd like to, drop me a note after the webinar, and we'll have a coffee and a chat, or a Zoom coffee and a chat, and see if it's the right thing to do for you. So 2 programs starting May, and drop me a note, and we'll have a look what works for you. So the reason for doing this subject, if you like, is because there's a whole area in the personal development world, coaching world, in which I've been immersed now for nearly 20 years. The law of attraction is one of these sort of hippie type concepts, if you like. Loads of material out there. There's books by, you can see on the screen, Michael Lozier. We've got Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and then we've got Rhonda Byrne with The Secret. And I've got all these books. I've read them all. I've met Michael Lozier. He's a lovely guy. I've seen him a couple of times, presentations and workshops, and he's great on stage and tells a fabulous story. The challenge I face with all these concepts about law of attraction is they're all a little bit what I call tree hugging and crystal gazing. There's never any real substance there. It's all about, if you look at Think and Grow Rich, for example, by Napoleon Hill, it's an interesting book. There's some good concepts in there, written in the early 20th century, but Napoleon Hill himself was never that successful. I think he actually died bankrupt and broke, and multiple divorces. So he didn't, he's written a book on success, but it sort of didn't work for him. And yet people talk about the concepts and principles of Think and Grow Rich as if it's the code for life and the code for success. And that's a challenge with all these areas. I think they're taken up by the people who are going to be a bit crazy about them. So I'm going to try and give you dispel some of the myths and give you some practical examples and the practical implications of how law of attraction actually works. And one of the key guys that I like to use as a reference point in this area is actually Tesla. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Nikola Tesla, and he was a genius in my opinion. And interesting how his name's been taken. There are two vehicle companies over in the US now. There's Tesla, obviously Elon Musk, and they use AC and DC motors in their cars, just out of interest. Nikola Tesla was the guy that brought forward and proposed AC current, whereas Edison was going down the route of DC current. And there's a huge sort of conflict, like the old Betamax and VHS. Edison was not having AC current at all because he was going to destroy his network. There's all sorts of theories that AC current was dangerous, it will kill you and all this sort of thing. But Tesla was the guy that gave us, if you like, or supplied to us AC current, alternating current, which is every national grid is alternating current. And so there's a car company called Tesla. There's one called Nikola as well. There's a Nikola car company over in the US. So he's very well known in the sector of electrics. But just consider those words: energy, frequency, and vibration. They're key phrases, key words I want you to sort of hold on to as we go along. If you Google universal laws or cosmic laws, if you like, you're going to find a list of about 14 of them, all sorts of different ones: law of attraction, law of vibration, law of all sorts of weird and wonderful things. They're not laws, okay? They're principles. They're ideas and concepts that somebody's called a law so they can sell books and do seminars and workshops on them. So they're not really laws, they're principles and concepts. But Tesla was sort of the granddaddy of some of these ideas. Now, everything has got a vibrational energy down to the smallest atom, whether it's protons and neutrons, electrons. Every piece of material, every living thing, atoms and molecules, people, bits of wood, bits of metal, they've all got a vibrational energy. They're all vibrating. They're all making not a noise, but there's movement there. The electrons are spinning around and the protons are shaking and vibrating. Everything sends out a vibrational energy. And this is where we can generate this sort of energy ourselves in terms of who we attract to ourselves and who we choose not to attract to ourselves. So it's tapping into the level of vibrational energy that we display as human beings. And you can do this. You can see this when you're on a call like this, for example, in a networking event. There's somebody in the room that you will just connect with in a good, positive way, because, and you probably use the phrase, you'll say, well, we're on the same wavelength. We sort of fit together. We fitted. There's something there. You can tell. It's like sort of the love at first sight type of approach, if you like. But the law of vibration, it's got two things associated with it. We've got amplitude, the energy or the volume, the power within the level of vibration. And then we've got the wavelength, the intensity of the vibration. This comes out from all sorts of electromagnetic radiation, this type of thing as well. These are two things we're interested in. So if you as a person, you are generating visible to the world a level of vibrational energy, and you're doing that in the way you appear to people, the words that you use, your emotions, your phraseology, how you treat people, your physiology, the whole thing, you're sending out this level of vibrational energy. Whether you like it or not, you just are. So what happens is, if you meet somebody and they have got the same sort of wavelength as you are, they're similar to you, you will recognize them as such. There'll be something you recognize as being attractive or compelling or interesting, or you'll just sort of fit with them. You won't know why. And if anybody who does networking, you know this when you go to an event, that you will find people who just somehow they fit well with you. Some people don't, some people do. But the reason for it is that they're on the same wavelength. And this is the key word just to remember. And if you get two people together that are on the same wavelength, then when you put those people together, that's when the magic happens. It doesn't matter whether the amplitude is the same level of energy. It could be you with somebody the same wavelength, but lower energy doesn't really matter, but providing that wavelength is the same. This is what we're looking to measure and manage. Now, if you put those two together, and you are in phase, so you are, you're connected, you're going to be creative, you can do some projects together, it actually increases the amplitude, and you can sense it because you're sparking with each other, you're kicking ideas around, you're creating ideas, you're creating projects, and you're just having a really compelling conversation. The conversation I'm going to talk about later on in the workshop was scheduled to be about half an hour, and it took us 2 hours in the end, and it'll make sense when I explain more about it for you. Hence I'm going to start mentioning Aaron in a few minutes. But that's what it does. So when you find people that are on your wavelength, they resonate with you. There's a resonation there. You fit together, and then that's when the magic happens. You know when that happens. What also can happen, of course, is if you have people that are out of phase with you, but the wavelength is the same. So the same wavelength, but they're out of phase. They're sort of, maybe you know them really well. This happens with couples. Anybody on the call here that's been in a long-term relationship for some time, you know this. You're maybe on the same wavelength as your partner, but actually when you put them together, you're out of phase, and that's when the waves cancel out. There's no increase in energy. What happens is the energy goes down to zero, and you start to flatline. You're calm and serene. But this is where you know that with Lynn and I, for example, and sometimes for different reasons, where we can sit, on a long journey, we can just sit in silence. We're perfectly comfortable with silence. It's absolutely fine. We don't need to create conversation because we're on the similar wavelength, and so we're either synchronized in phase, and therefore we amplify and have creative conversations, or we could be out of phase and we cancel out again. Those are the two key scenarios that you can think about when you're displaying your levels of energy and projecting your levels of energy to other people, and what you look for in other people as well. Now, what can happen then if you have people who are on a different wavelength? So here's a different wavelength. So here's you at the bottom. You've got your wavelength here, quite broad. The other person has got a different wavelength. They think in different ways. They are wired differently, different experiences, different knowledge, and they don't fit with you. They don't fit with you. Now, if you put those two people together, you combine those two waveforms, you're going to get this, which is all over the place. It's just a mess. It's chaos. Different wavelengths. It doesn't work. It doesn't fit. No creativity. And if you look at then how that applies to your underlying wavelength or levels of energy, it's chaos. You're going to get arguments, and you get falling out. It's just not going to work. Now, the challenge in business is we need both. We need people to be fit with really well, where we're in sync and we have that high level of creativity, likability, and trust and vision and values when we are on the same wavelength. We also need people around who are on different wavelengths, and you can attract both. This is the message. There's a myth around only attracting similarity. We don't want to attract similar all the time. We do want to have similar people, but we do need to have people that aren't similar as well. And this is how it can work against you if you're not very careful. But if you look in your teams, or in your groups, or maybe in your family, I don't know, it depends. If you look at our extended family, there are some people that don't fit our wavelength. They think we're crazy, traveling around the world, living in France, doing a refurb cottage, doing what we do, all this. They think we're nuts. They don't get it. They're on a different wavelength, and there's no fit. And that's okay as well. So we keep them out. We keep them away from us because they can be destructive if not very careful. So that's what it looks like when you have either people that are on your wavelength, in sync, feels good, creativity, high energy, you amplify and you support each other, or you sort of cancel each other out and it's calm and serene. That's okay as well. Or you have a third type where there's this sort of disjointedness. Now, if you've got this disjointedness, these are people you want to have around with you for projects, not as employees or partners. Maybe projects are okay, or subcontractors to do things you can't do, all this sort of thing. But the relationship's going to be a little bit sort of jagged at best if not very careful. So those are 3 areas we can look at in terms of your level of energy that you project and that you receive. Now, remember that if I want to tune into a radio station, for example, if I want to tune into Radio 1 in the UK, not I'm recommending it, but if I did want to tune into it, I will tune in to the wavelength that they are transmitting on. So that is 97.1, or between 97 and 101, I think it is in the UK. I can tune into that wavelength. If I tune into another wavelength, I get a different radio station. If I don't tune into that, I can't hear Radio 1. So we're very attuned to this level of vibrational energy that people send out. Now, we send out this vibrational energy on social media posts, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on video, on emails we send out. When we walk down the street and acknowledge people or not, we're sending out our levels of energy. So if you want to attract a certain type of person to you, you've got to realize that you've got to send out those levels of energy that will be attractive to them, they're tuned into, and then you're on the same wavelength, because we're both transmitters and receivers. We transmit by our physiology, by our levels of energy, our eye contact, all the things we do as an individual, the words that we use, the phrases we use, how we project ourselves. That's our transmission. And we receive as well. So you'll see people out there who will send you a message. And I'm going to give you two examples a little bit later on. I'm not going to mention names on one of them, but you see who's had a message come through on LinkedIn on a message box, for example, and it's a marketing message for I don't know, SEO or for cryptocurrency or foreign exchange trading. And what do? You just delete them, because you look at it, you go, nah, it doesn't fit, not interested. They're not using my terminology, my language. They don't fit with me. It could be a good offer, but I'm not really interested. So click, I'm going to let it go, and you wander off. So we transmit and we receive, and we can control both. It's controlling this level of energy that we can take hold of, that we can use to our advantage in terms of the law of attraction. So the first thing is, what do you want to attract? What do you want to attract to yourselves, to your business? And this is where it comes down to your perfect client, your ideal type of client or prospect, or it could be a partner or a friend or a colleague. It could be an employee or a team member. Who do you want to attract? What are you looking for? Because this is where the instinct kicks in. And I've seen on a number of times working with recruiters, for example, when the client will just go, you know what, I don't know what it is. The CV's great, experience good. There's something about them. There's something that's not a good fit. There's something that's not a good fit. We don't know what it is particularly, but it shows up all the time. And I can guarantee, and there's maybe some experience on the call here as well, having run a recruitment business and run my own companies as well, you always hire people on their skills, but you fire them on their attitude. It's always the way, I guarantee it. Now, if we could find another way around it, but it's always it's the personality, it's the attitude that lets them down. So you've got to be real careful what you attract and what you allow in, whether it's clients or people working in the team as well. So be clear, what do you want to attract? Now, if I'm looking at attracting clients or prospects for the business, for example, I'm pretty clear. I want to work with people that I like. I need to like them, just not be sort of best mates and all that sort of thing, but I want to like them. I want to like them, or know them and trust them, and they probably need to like, know, and trust me as well. So I'm pretty clear on the type of people that I know we can do great work with. And guess what? They're people like you guys on the call now. So I'd be very clear what I'm looking to attract, not just the business they're in, the size of company and how long they've been trading for, but the type of person. What's their values? What's their, how do they live? Do they live in a similar way as we live? Lynn and I have been together for about 85 years now. We tend to attract people and work well with people who are in long-term relationships. Lynn's on the call. I'm going to be in trouble in a minute. I'm just looking. I'm going to be in real trouble. But we tend to we send out those vibes, if you like, through our social media posts, because I put pictures of the dogs and the garden. I refer to Lynn, as you probably know, as the blonde one when we're off on our travels and doing that sort of thing. So she gets a little bit of positive stick from me, but I think people get it. They're okay with it. I'll let you know. If you don't see me again, it didn't end well. But that's what I'm very clear on what I want to attract. What sort of people do I want to have involved in the business? Not just working with me, but when I bring people into the group, into the team, they've got to fit with you guys as well. Because if I brought some, bizarre, crazy, nutcase idiot in who didn't fit, it would be really disruptive to the team. So I'm protective of my client team, my friends team as well. So be really clear, what do you looking to attract, and be also clear what you don't want to attract. So it's what do you want and what don't you want. And if you find yourself attracting what you don't want, then you have to look to yourselves. You have to look to what are you doing to attract, to send out the level of vibrational energy such that these other people find that interesting and compelling, whether this is in business or personal life or otherwise. If you're attracting the people you don't want, you've got to look at what you're doing to attract them and change the signal you're sending out there. It's a really interesting concept. So in terms of how do you project your frequency, your level of vibration, well, there's a physiological way of doing it to start off with. So you've got to be positive. These are mine, if you like, confident, hold good eye contact, be present. And I put here, be attractive. And I mean that. You've got to believe you are an attractive proposition for the people you connect with. And if you're not feeling like that, or you're not sensing that in terms of your physiology, when you go into a room or on a call, or you're doing your content or your work, you're not going to send out the right levels of energy, and the people who are looking to connect with that won't tune into it. They'll miss you. They'll go somewhere else. And what you're going to get is maybe the lower energy people, if you like. If you look at high levels of energy, it tends to be, positivity. It tends to be, assertiveness, confidence, self-assuredness. Those are good high energy levels that we need to project. If you're doing low energy, when you are maybe not feeling great, or you're tired or depressed or sad or whatever it is, well, guess what you're going to attract? If you're going to put out there words and phrases and energy that is low standard, low energy, you're going to attract people in there around you. You just are. There's always somebody who will turn up and have a pity party with you if your energy is not great. They just will, but they're not the people that you want. So watch out for what you're projecting through your physiology. How do you dress? What do you look like? Are you, symmetrical and groomed? Are you confident and bright and enthusiastic, regardless of the day that you've had? So one of the tricks is you sort of on stage all the time. And I know this for, for some of the martial artists, for example, you guys are literally on stage. You're in front, up close and personal with your students on the mats, or maybe over Zoom. You're on stage. A lot of the work that I do is over Zoom, either as groups and teams or one-to-one. And regardless of the day that I've had, which has been fine, by the way, it's okay. Regardless of my day, I have to be on my high vibrational, high energy platform, so it resonates with the people that are around me. So check on your physiology, and look, if you're bringing people into your network that you don't really want, they're bringing things to you don't want, check what you're doing. Don't check them. They're on a different frequency anyway, but check what you're doing to attract them. What are you sending out there? What message, what level of energy, what is your vibrational wavelength? What are you doing to send people towards you? The other thing is the physical words that you use. So the phrase, this is, and there's a lot of work on this in the sort of personal development world, where we can only use personal, progressive, productive, positive phrases. For example, you can't say the word problem; you have to say the word challenge. Now, to me, I don't get it. For me, it makes no difference to me, because a challenge is something that it suggests conflict to me. It's a challenge, like a combat challenge. We have a Challenger tank, for goodness sake, in the military. Now, for me, if somebody says the word problem, a problem, me as an engineer, is like a mathematical problem, something to be overcome and be worked through. But it depends on how you view it. But use positive words. If somebody says to you, for example, this is the classic, and the Brits are classic for this. You say to some of the Brits, "How are you?" And they will say, and you've got to type it in, but they will say, "Well, I'm not too bad." It's like, flipping heck. Is that the best you want? I'm not too bad, because those are negative, low energy words. Now, if you've got somebody that you want to attract that is thinking high energy and positivity, and you say to them, "I'm not too bad," they're going to switch off. They're going to go, "No, well, great, good for you. I'm out of here." You're not going to engage with them. You're not going to resonate with them. You're not going to. There's no fit. So little things like that. That's what makes the difference. So consider the phrases you use, the words that you use, that will send out and transform that level of energy for you. They need to be uplifting, engaging, happy, happy, affirmative, funny. Humor is a great one for raising levels of energy. Use it carefully, not the joke telling business, but a bit of humor, a bit of brevity is a good thing. That raises the energy and it generally attracts people to you, the right sort of people. So the physical words that you use are very, very powerful. One of the things to consider, of course, is what's the voice inside your head telling you, the internal voice, the internal dialogue. Now, I've got in my head, I've got several voices, which is probably another condition I need to be aware of, but still. But I can remember now, if I see a new opportunity or something happening or something to go for, business-wise or personal, I can hear my dad's voice in my head. Even now, I can hear my dad's voice, bless him. He passed on, oh gosh, 10 years ago, and he was very, very cautious, very conservative, and anything he would do anything to avoid risk. His advice to me, for example, was to get a trade, get qualified, settle down, get a 40-year career, and be safe, and don't take any risks, and be healthy when you die, take a healthy body to the grave, all this sort of thing. And it was okay. I didn't really buy that, but anyway, he did it for the right reasons. Bless him. I get it. He wanted me to be safe and secure, but his voice is in my head, and if I want to go and invest in something or buy something or go somewhere as a family, buy a house, buy a renovation cottage in France unseen on the internet on a Sunday afternoon, he would have gone absolutely nuts if he had found out we'd have done that, bless him. And you might have been right. But the voice inside your head, what's it saying to you? Have you got a voice, an encouraging voice, or a limitation voice? Because that will affect your level of energy you're sending out there. So for me, I will have I check my language, and I know I was on a call. I think it was with Gareth. I'm going to say Gareth. He might confirm or otherwise. And I said something. I'll try and send this email over to you. Very throwaway phrase, but that word try, where did that come from? Why would I drop that into a conversation? There is no try, as we know. I will get that email to you in the next 5 minutes. That's it. Positive, affirmative, concise, high level of vibration. If you find yourself using words, the things like, I'll think about it, I'll try, I might, I couldn't, I shouldn't, I may do. And when we look at people coming on this call, for example, not you guys by definition, but I invite a lot of people to these conversations. Some can't make it for absolutely legitimate reasons. They're busy in meetings, this sort of thing. What I get sometimes, and you'll know this in your own businesses, is they'll come back and they'll say, thanks for the invitation. I might think about it. What do you mean you might think? They're not even going to think about it. They might think about it. Now, the chances of that person coming on this event are zero. I know they are. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But their level of energy, their level of affirmative, positive energy is lower than mine. I don't want them on the call if they're going to have to think about it. I want them to be on the call or not. That's it. Equally, both is fine. But don't come in with low levels of energy. Watch out for that as you go along. So choosing your words is a very interesting way of doing this. Now, what you can also do is you can have a set of positive affirmations that you tell yourself. You can engineer your own positivity if you're not feeling great. Now, I used to do affirmations a long time ago. I don't need to do them now. Actually, I've trained the muscle to a degree, but how they work is that you tell yourself some positive affirmative statements about yourself that gets you in a positive state, that allows you to go and project positive energy out into the world. Now, it's a very interesting book. And again, this is when we go down the rabbit hole of slightly craziness for you. But Dr. Masaru Emoto, he did a book, Messages from Water in the Universe. His principle was that water has a memory. It carries with it a memory of chemicals that were in the water, even if the chemicals have been removed. And again, now I'm not suggesting this is true, but it's research, it's worth a look. It's an interesting concept. But something else that he found was when he projected emotions onto water, the water molecules and crystalline structure of the water would change. And you can see here, if you send negative energy into water, then you can see top left, you can see that the cell structure, the molecules, horrible, brown, misshapen. Whereas on the other side, if you're projecting peace and love onto water, the crystal is very well formed, it's attractive, it's clear and bright. So water can be affected by emotional constructs. Love and anger, you can see the same there as well. Now, it's just an interesting concept. Now, whether it's true, I don't know, but from a point of view of principle, because we are 80% water, as humans, we're 80% water. Therefore, if water or fluid can be engineered through positivity, it's likely that that's what we should do for ourselves as well. Even if it doesn't work, if it's not true, who cares? Try it anyway. Positivity will spread. So if you have yourself some positive affirmations that how you are able to be in the process of becoming successful or happy or whatever it is, tell yourself something positive, and it may just affect your mindset and the level of energy that you're projecting out into the world, which means you'll attract the people you want in. Now, in the business we're in, and I was chatting to Lynn about this, we've been in this business and this is our 19th year, and looking back at the clients, and some of the clients have been with us since day one, pretty much, which is great. But looking back at the people we work with and having in our group and our team, the clients and associates, we have attracted people that are very similar to us, not in terms of our, particular age or anything like that, but in terms of our values, our outlook, our levels of energy, and our standards and performance. And they come from a variety of backgrounds. We work with people who are, accountants to lawyers to nightclub owners to martial artists to quite bizarre companies. But the common thread has always been that people we work with have a similarity, a similar level of energy. And the reason for that is because what we've done is in our marketing and the way we treat people, we've sent out this level of energy. And it's interesting when people come into the business, maybe they come to a seminar or a workshop and they don't fit. It shows, it stands out, it's clear they don't work with us, they don't like us, they don't fit. And that's okay as well, because it's a filtration process. But the same for you in terms of your clients and customers or your students. You want people that you can fit well with and do a great job for. And if there's resonance there, that's the way it goes. To be really clear on what levels of energy you're putting out there. So I'm going to explain now sort of how it works in the real world, because I see that I recognize this in my business, in my life. Regular. It's like a synchronicity, call it whatever we like. It's not some sort of bizarre pseudoscience. It's just, be nice to people, they recognize it, and then nice people come to you. That's basically what it is, but we can engineer it. But how it actually works, and this is a genuine case study. So I had somebody send me a connection request on LinkedIn, as we do, and everybody has it. Connection requests came through. So what I do, I'll connect with anybody. Pretty much, as long as they're not foreign exchange or anything like that, or cryptocurrencies, I'll connect with anybody. So I send them a video, and I recommend you do as well. I have a video from me, and it says, "Thanks for being on my LinkedIn network." It's about 2 minutes long, and I just say, "Hi, thanks for connecting with me. Here's me, what I do. This is where we're based. Here's about the business." Not a sales pitch at all, just a general introduction. If you want to have a virtual Zoom coffee or something like that, let me know. Let's hook up. Let's have a chat and see what happens. That goes through all my new connections. And what it does, it sends out, I hope, my level of vibrational energy. It's quite relaxed. I'm not wearing a suit and shirt and tie. I'm talking about me and Lynn and the dogs and the cottage and what we do and how we do it. And also nice and gentle, sort of personality explained, if you like. So I sent that out onto LinkedIn, and I got a message back within about an hour, and it was from a recruiter. Now, if you get a message from a recruiter, it's like, "Oh, God, I've connected with the wrong one. What am I going to do here? Why recruiters picked on me?" This was the message that came back. And you can read it yourselves on here. What a lovely way to say hello. I really enjoyed the video. Feels like I know you a little already, blah, blah, blah. Our development lead, John, lives over in France. Okay, he loves it. I'd certainly be up for having a virtual coffee and a chat to find out more about yourself, your co-piloting, and share the same about me and wavelength. And I thought, well, that's okay. So he's a recruiter, which in my mind, having had a recruitment business, Aaron's onto the game now. He's twigged what we're doing, I think. And I thought, well, this is quite interesting, but he's saying the same things as I would say, if that makes sense. He's reflecting back to me my levels of energy, phraseology, positivity, and it's okay, well, we'll go for it. So I went back and I said, yeah, that'd be great. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a Zoom call. And this was last Thursday, I think it was, literally last Thursday. And we had this conversation. So, okay, so this is the guy. Now, Aaron will know this guy for a very good reason, I think. It's a guy called Jimmy Armitage. And all will be explained. So Jimmy sent me a connection request. This is how it goes, because he's seen my profile. I assume I'm in somebody's network or this sort of thing. He sent me a connection request. I sent him a video. He sent me a message, and then we had that resonant level of energy that it was there. We fitted together. We just did, for some reason. Now, what it turns out is, when we had a conversation for what was due to be half an hour, and it turned into, I think it was 2 hours we're on the call for. He's genuinely a lovely guy. I've told him that I'm going to be talking about him on this call tonight, so he knows what's coming. And he said it was okay. He said I should warn Aaron. I said, nah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He's a lovely guy. Got a very interesting business. He approaches recruitment in a specific, certain, unique way. And because we fitted well together, I said, well, look, this is great. So I'm going to be able to do a presentation or a workshop, for his clients, for example. I'm going to be able to recommend him to my clients when they're looking for new recruits that he specializes in the UK. Perfectly happy, because he fits with what we're doing. We're going to do a webinar, a podcast recording together. We're booked in, I think, for the middle of May. So we got on well. There was a fit. And that 2 hours went really, really quick. The reason for the story and why Aaron is smiling, because he said, what sort of people do you work with? I said, it's a variety of people, from people all over the world. From, we have a dating agency over in Germany. We have an accountant in the UK, and actually we have an accountant up in Yorkshire we're doing some work with as well. He said he picked up on this accountant in Yorkshire. He said, who's the accountant, if you don't mind me asking? I said, well, I'm sure they won't mind me mentioning, but it's actually Treybridge. And Aaron, he said, I know Trey, but I know Aaron. Apparently, Jimmy, I think, is in a. I'm going to bring Aaron on in a second or two. It's in a networking group, if that's the right term for it, in Hull, and so Jimmy knows Aaron. Jimmy didn't know that I knew Aaron, let alone that we were, participating and helping each other, working together. But that's how it works. You'll find that like-minded people, there's not many of us out there. If you find one person that is on the same wavelength and same level of energy as you, they know other people like it as well. So when it comes down to referrals and introductions and network, you're going to find you're going to attract all the same sort of people together. So Aaron and Jimmy, and I'll bring Aaron on in a second or two just to explain himself. But anyway, but it was just like a really, wow, this is a goosebump sort of moment, because most people on the call know Aaron, and is obviously the accountant with a personality, that sort of thing, which is really good. But that's how it goes. This is how that level of energy and the law of attraction, law of vibration works. When you recognize that, you project it, you attract that type of person to you, and you're going to have these conversations. What was even more bizarre, actually, was the name of Jimmy's company. When I looked him on his LinkedIn page, it's called Wavelength. So we're on the same wavelength, and he's the website, and I'll give him a quick plug here because he's a genuinely good guy. It's called yourwavelength.co.uk. It's like, how does this work? This is very odd. This is very strange that we've connected because we're on the same wavelength. He's called Wavelength and all that sort of thing. So it absolutely works. I know it works personally. I know it works professionally and in business. I have been fortunate to attract to us, some fabulous people, but it starts with what I send out. It's the level of energy, standards, performance, the words, and all this sort of thing that I use in my posts and my blogs, or when I'm networking, whatever it is, how I treat the world, if you like. I send out what I want to receive back. That's fundamentally the law of vibration, the law of attraction. It's sending out there what you want to get back, then recognizing it and resonating with it. And that's when the magic happens. So that sort of brings to a close the content. I'm going to go for any questions. Before I go for questions, I'm going to invite Aaron just to come and make a bit of sense of that, if you would. So Aaron, could you, if you don't mind, I'm going to pick on you, but is that, there we go. So Aaron, give us a quick update. Do you know Jimmy, do you?
Yeah. So I've known Jimmy probably now since June 2016.
Oh, wow.
Incredible business what they do, and it's not like normal recruitment agencies the way they work. He is a bundle of fun. He's brilliant. He's got a great sense of humor, and he understands business massively. A spade's a spade with Jimmy. There's nothing ever not. And because it's quite funny. I was only actually talking to him about 2 weeks ago myself.
Right.
As soon as you said wavelength, I was like, wavelength, I know this person.
It's strange, isn't it? But it is bizarre, because when he sent the message through to me in response to my video, it was that, if that makes it was that sort of fit. It was just something, because being a recruiter, I think, oh, it's a recruiter, click, no, whatever. And nothing against recruiters, but they're not very good at sales sometimes. But because he sent that message back that generally resonated, I thought, oh, let's go for it then. This would be great. And I'm really pleased that I did, because we had a great conversation. We're going to help and collaborate and this sort of thing. But just interesting that he knew you and you already connected together. But that's how it goes, that people who are the same wavelength tune into each other. They just do, it's how it goes. So I thought it was just a very interesting example of how this principle works. So thank you for playing along. I didn't mean to pick on you either.
Small world.
It is a small world. I wouldn't like to paint it, but it's a very small world. You're absolutely right. So anyway, thanks, Aaron. Cheers. So, okay. Any questions? If you have any questions, then please, you can type them in. Charlotte's had to go visit for her cat. Oh my goodness. Okay. I hope the cat's okay. But any questions, please type them in. I can answer now. I will send out the copy of the recording when we're done. But any questions, please type them in. Anybody wants to come on and make any observations? I can say, well, Mr. Dirk Sandens there as well. We have the enlightened accountant with us. I need to be extremely, extremely careful what I say now. But if nobody has any questions, I'm going to pick on Dirk because I know he has a view on these things, and he's sat there smiling. So, Dirk, could you jump on and give us a couple of your pearls of wisdom? I know this is something you feel quite strongly about as well.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thanks, David. Obviously, I can only agree with all what you have said, because I have started my personal journey of, let's call it, increased awareness a couple of years ago, and this principle of the law of attraction was definitely something that I applied since then, and it works. It is like this. It's really like this rule of give and receive. And the order is not coincident. You have to start with giving, and it is a lot about energy and frequency. And since then, actually, because you said be careful what you think of, because it starts already in your mind. Means when you are getting aware of what's going on in your mind, and according to science, we probably only have, let's say, spend 5% of our time during 24 hours making conscious thoughts, and 95% is just running on subconscious programs. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the goal is to increase the 5%, but it tells you that the more you are conscious about your thoughts and you are developing constructive thoughts, positive thoughts, something that really when you really think about, okay, what is my next sentence? And these things like I might, I can, I should, or maybe. It's interesting how unconsciously how often we use these words. But as you said, there is a transmitter and there's a receiver. Mm-hmm. The receiver gets exactly that message, that I'm not committed, right? That I'm not really convinced of what I want to do. And the reason often is because we don't really know what we do. We are not thinking about what is what we really want, what we are really standing for, what are our core values, what are the beliefs that we are deriving from this. And if we're getting conscious about this, and it all starts with a thought, mm-hmm. Then obviously all that comes back. It is really like, it all starts with yourself and making a conscious thought and then living up to it. So in that respect, I can only confirm what you said. I have tons of examples that it really works, and it's a lot of fun actually. Sometimes I'm standing there and I'm pausing and reflecting. I said, how could this happen? How could I? Why did I, for example, bump into that person exactly the moment I needed to meet this person? Yeah. So and before I learned about this principle, I thought, oh, that's an interesting coincidence. Yes. All right. Yeah. Now I know that's not coincidence. It's driven by me, by my thoughts, by what I'm thinking and what I'm saying and what I'm living and what I'm doing. So in that respect, Great topic. You can talk about, I don't know, the whole evening.
Absolutely. And do you have a top book recommendation? I know you're obviously your Lighthouse Journey, your book recommendation for everybody. Check that out. I believe it's available now. So Your Lighthouse Journey, fabulous book by Dirk Sanden. But anything off your reading list, Dirk, you'd recommend, just to give a bit of a icing on the cake for everybody?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is I think we have reached the status also from the scientific perspective where we can actually explain, for example, things like the law of attraction, where we can explain what's going on with these energy waves when we are thinking and doing certain things. And probably what would be a good read is surely either something from Dr. Dispenza. This is one of my favorite authors when it comes to these kind of topics.
Yeah.
Or Bruce Lipton. Definitely some two guys that are definitely worth to read through this, because they really explain what happens, and they bring it on the very low level in terms of science, in terms of what's the difference between the Newtonian world and now the quantum world, because they really explain based on quantum mechanics what happens in our mind when we are thinking or in let's say creating high frequency thoughts or low frequency thoughts.
Yeah.
So that's my recommendation. Definitely worth to read. Maybe from Bruce Lipton, the biology of belief. That could be a good starting point.
Fabulous. Thank you. Excellent. And I'll add, if you want to book anybody's interested in reading and haven't read these books, maybe The Alchemist by Paolo Coelho as well is another one, interesting start point. The thing is with these materials, and I find this a lot, is that it all tends, if you're not very careful, you go down the sort of the crazy tree hugging route, and it's a bit mad. So try and stick to things that are a bit more sort of sensible, if you like. It's a fascinating subject. It absolutely works. And it's just we do it automatically to a degree. I think the thing with the law of attraction, law of vibration and energy is we're doing it anyway. You know, we're doing it anyway, whether we like it or not, or we believe it or not. We're attracting things to us. Our lives are a mirror. Our businesses are a mirror of ourselves. You want to get a better image or a better outcome, look at the image we're sending out there. So it's all these sort of common themes, if you like, but it really works. So it really works. So any further questions? Anybody else? Any points I'd like to raise or chip in at all? We just type it in, and yeah, I know him. I just saw the message. You too. He knows you as well. So if there's no further questions, I'm just waiting. You're welcome to type them in. I'm going to download the video. It'll be on YouTube. I'll circulate the link out on the group. We're back on what will be the last Tuesday, obviously, of May, and we've got a couple of workshops in between. I'll circulate those around for you. If there are no questions, then I wish you a lovely evening. Just remember, if we do have 2 coaching programs we're going to release starting in May, if you're not with us already and you think you have the right level of vibrational energy to join the gang, then please drop me a note. We'll have a chat, have a conversation. But for now, thank you for participating, and I'll send the link out for the next event we're doing. Have a lovely evening, and I'll press the stop recording button in a second, and if I can find it, and then we can relax a little bit. So here we go. What's a second?